Very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavane and I warmly welcome all of you to StudyIQ. I hope you all are doing good. Dear friends, at StudyIQ, we provide pen drive and tablet courses for various different exams. At present, up to 40% discount is available on our pen drive and tablet courses. This is going to last till 27 January 2017. Make sure you check out StudyIQ.com to know more about it. With this, dear friends, just in case if you have any queries, you have these phone numbers and you have chat support available on our website too. With this, dear friends, let's have a positive start. Strive for continuous improvement instead of perfection. Now, the thing is that generally speaking, whenever we are thinking about executing something, or say, for example, studies, right? Let's take today's example. You would have a very good plan, and most of the time when we plan, we exaggerate a little bit, which is not bad as well, right? Because if we set our targets a bit higher than what we can achieve, then this is how it will motivate us to, cross that boundary. But we should not, you see, basically, if you draw a graph and if you have, say, for example, decided to reach here, and if you reach here, actually, right? So you have this bit of gap. This is called gap analysis. Anyways, so a bit of gap is not bad, right? Rather than feeling sorry about it or being miserable about this gap, it is better to enjoy and make sure that we are on a road of continuous improvement. Enough said. Now let's crack on. But before that, dear friends, let me quickly tell you that you would be able to download this PDF from my Facebook page, which is Prashanti Mavane. And if you want to get in touch with me, then this is the platform, my Facebook page. With this first article that we have is written by Rakesh Sood. Now, regular students, you would be aware about Rakesh Sood. This is not the first time we are discussing his article. He was a diplomat earlier on, and he has been here in Afghanistan, so he knows in and out of the things that are going on in this part of the world. The other thing is that we find his article most of the times in the Hindu, and they are written on international affairs, and they are very informative. They have something, every time it has a different perspective, something that adds to what we know so far. So very important article here, this one, and basically it starts with this a siege, right? This terror attack that took place in an international hotel in Kabul. It lasted for 12 hours, and in total 22 people lost their life, and out of this 22 people, you had this 14 foreigners. Now the thing is, I have said this earlier on as well, whenever this terrorist groups, right, one of the main reason why they attack these international hotels is because they want to basically send a sort of strong message to the people around the world or international community. When they attack international hotel, they have most of the times they are well aware about citizens of different countries staying in that hotel, and when they kill them, they are basically attacking that country. So this is how they try to create panic, and this is how they execute their agenda. Anyways, now the thing is, if we go through the statement of Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, what he has said, that 21 international terrorist groups are operating in Afghanistan at present. 21 international terrorist groups, right? The bigger ones are Taliban, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. There are so many smaller ones as well. And the sad thing is that all these terrorist groups, right, generally speaking, they are supporting each other. We have seen this earlier on as well, whenever, say, for example, this Al-Shabaab or this Boko Haram of Nigeria, if they require some sort of logistic or technological or money support, then these bigger groups like Al-Qaeda and other ones are ready to help them. So they are working very well. Of course, there would be a sort of power struggle between them as well, but generally speaking, they are working for each other. They are working in cooperation, and sadly we see in today's world, right, we see that governments are not supporting each other. There are many countries in today's era, they are we hear this sort of things, good terrorism and bad terrorism, and this is something that is real. It's not just something that is just said for the sake of saying, right? Say for example China, right? China, we know it very well. Whenever it comes to United Nations Security Council, and whenever we are trying to create some sort of, you can say, whenever we are trying to ensure that this Hafiz Saeed and this Masood Azhar and these people, right, they are taken to the books, but at that point of time China is using its veto power and it is protecting them, and this is a very sad thing. Anyways, so this is the scenario of Afghanistan. You can understand 21 international terrorist groups, and the other thing is that factories producing suicide bombers. This is not the, of course you can understand, I'm not talking about that factories producing. Basically there are so many this terrorist groups, right? They are brainwashing youngsters and they are giving money and all these different tactics, right? If someone can be fooled by the name of religion, they will do that. If someone can be brainwashed by giving them extra money for their family and other things, right, then they will do that. So these are the things that they do, and they are looking for these suicide bombers. And because it is, you can say, right, suicide bombers are basically their missiles, targeted missiles. I cannot find the right word, but yes, guided missiles, right? They are their guided missiles. So this is a very sad scenario. Anyways, he has also acknowledged that without US support, Afghan army, national army, would not last more than 6 months. And he is right as well, because at present, if you see the, you can say, the horrid figures that we are getting from this article, is that every year in Afghanistan 7,000 security personnel, right, 7,000 security personnel per year, they are dying, right? 7,000 is not a small amount at all. In terms of civilians, so far in last 16 years, 31,000 civilians have died in Afghanistan, and at present the rate has gone up to 4,000 per year. So this is a very sad scenario of Afghanistan. And let me quickly show you why USA. You hear a word here that USA, without US support. Now why USA has been supporting it? See, this is a global map here. Let me zoom it up a little bit for you guys so you can understand. Right, so here is Afghanistan, and you know that this portion here, this white portion here, is Russia. Earlier on it was known as USSR, and many other countries of Central Asia were part of this USSR. At that point of time, USSR invaded Afghanistan, and Cold War era was going on, so USA stepped in. Now the only way for USA to be here or to rescue Afghanistan was through Pakistan, because it was not having good relationship. In fact, it's even today as well, a relationship between Iran and USA are not that cordial, and this whole Turkmenistan and other countries of Central Asia were part of this USSR. So the only entry gate was Pakistan. So they started building their military base over here, right? And then Pakistan was given money and technology and other things. And of course, Pakistan, at that point of time, India was following this non-aligned movement thing, right? So we were not close to USA, we were neither supporting USSR, but due to socialism and Nehru and all these things in the past, USSR has always supported India. You know, before that we had this 1971's war and things like that. At that point of time, Pakistan, in fact, USA was going to help Pakistan, but before that we got help from USSR. And anyways, so there are many other things that took place between 1950s and 1991 in this 45 years period. So this was the entry gate for USA to Afghanistan, and Pakistan used this money and all these technologies that it was getting from USA for creating troubles here in this POK region and ensuring that India is always troubled with some sorts of attacks going on, proxy war, right? So now coming to this, once we have discussed this Afghan or this background theory, now let's start to go through this article, right? So USA's contribution so far, right, in this Afghan war it has contributed blood and money, right? It has lost nearly 2,400 lives in terms of its soldiers and other people, many diplomats and other officials and US citizens. In total, 2,400 lives is not small for a country like USA. Now it has invested, you can say, or it has spent, right, trillions of dollars, right, $1 trillion, nearly just $120 billion it has spent on reconstruction and development. If you compare this thing with this Marshall Plan, then it is equal amount of money. If you add inflation adjusted expenditure, then the money that was invested or spent to rebuild Western Europe after World War II. So that much money has been invested or spent by USA for Afghanistan. And other thing is that it is also, if we look after this, consider more money, right? More than $1 trillion you can say would be spent, or in total this figure can go up as well because of long-term veterans. Veterans are soldiers who have performed in a war, and once they retire, then looking after them and things like that, of course, will add more expenses. Now, India, we know that India is having at present very good relationship with Afghanistan, and recently Afghanistan's president was here in India, and he also said that if Pakistan is not allowing us in the sense Afghanistan and India, to use its land portion for connectivity, then Pakistan should not expect land connectivity with this Turkmenistan and Central Asian countries, right? Afghanistan will not allow. And there are other things as well in many international forum. I clearly remember when we had this Heart of Asia meeting in Amritsar. At that point of time, Afghanistan's president was very ballistic. He was very aggressive in blaming and shaming Pakistan. I won't say that what he said was wrong, but this indicates that relationship between India and Afghanistan are very cordial, very dear at present. India is a significant partner, no doubt. We have spent so far $2 billion in humanitarian assistance. Remember how during this South Asia policy of Mr. Trump, at that point of time, Secretary of State requested India that we should deploy more troops, right? They need our Indian soldiers in Afghanistan, but we clearly stated that we are not going to support, we are not going to provide Indian soldiers, but instead we can carry on what we are doing. We are providing humanitarian assistance, we are building infrastructure, right? We have built their parliament, we have built this Salma Dam, or India-Afghanistan Friendship Dam. Then we are building their capacity in terms of human resource development, schools, hospitals and other things. And with that we have also promised or committed for $1 billion extra will be given by India. So far this is the role of India, which is not bad as per our capacity. Now Mr. Trump's decisions, right, recently he has, recently on 1st January he tweeted and he blamed Pakistan. He clearly stated that for the last 15 years Pakistan has taken away or is basically standing with a bowl and asking for more and more money and technology and everything, and USA has been providing it, but in return we have not got anything from Pakistan. So he has been very critical of Pakistan, and he has said that no more means Pakistan should not expect any more help from USA. Now we have to watch, as our country, as India, we have to wait and watch whether this is just a sort of rhetoric or something real is going to take place. Pakistan is not that much worried about it because Pakistan has China's support. Right now, the situation in Afghanistan, particularly the political situation, is that see, you have this president, and then you have a position called chief executive. Now, basically when this chief executive was this post was created, it was decided that later on it will be converted into a prime ministership's post, but so far nothing like that has taken place. You need constitutional amendment, but that has not taken place. The other thing is that when we talk about these two posts, right, president and chief executive, then there is lack of clear division of power and responsibility. If you rather than me asking you for being a management background, let me tell you that just take example of your own home. Or so what happens is basically you need to have one boss, right? Or command should come from one person. If you have two bosses, then what will happen? This person will tell you do one, this person will tell you do B, and then you will have clash in the organization. Something similar applies to a country as well. So you should have a clear division of power and responsibility. The other thing is that when we talk about this parliamentary election, they were due in 2015, right? 2015. Now we have just entered 2018, and as per Afghanistan's government, elections are going to take place in July 2018, but the thing is, elections will only take place if international community will provide money, and at present it does not look that international community is ready to provide somewhere around $250 million. So practically speaking, elections are going to take place next year, that is in 2019. And when we talk about security, one more thing that I would like to add here, that your country can have best resources, right? You can have best resources, natural resources. You can have diamonds, and you can have gold, you can have oil, right? You can have good human resources or human capital. You can have good atmosphere, weather, and all this scenic beauty, mountains and desert and everything you can have. You can have good political constitution and well-defined theories and everything. But if all things are not protected, or if you have, security, right, is not there, then this sort of things, all the resources that you have will be of no use. Same thing applies to Afghanistan as well. 45% of its territory will not see election, because even today, right, some portion is under Taliban's control, other portion is a bit of portion, somewhere around 20% or something like that, is contested between Taliban and the government. So nearly, right, nearly 45% altogether will not see election, because security is not there, and there are new warlords as well. People who used to be in power, who are in power at present, they are getting stronger and stronger. Like you have this Balkh governor, right? You have this Ismail Khan, and then you have Abdul Razik. These are the people. They are holding different positions in different part, and this person here, he has a military as well. They are loyal to him, and many of them, they are controlling this Kandahar region, this portion here. This policeman, police chief, he is controlling this Kandahar, and he has direct access to this Baluchistan. So these are the problems that are going on in Afghanistan at present. And if you see global powers like USA, Russia, now Russia is asking for having a talk or discussion with Taliban. USA is not happy about it. Iran is saying let's have a talk with because Iran is a neighboring country, as you can see here, right? So Iran is also talking about let's have a chat with Taliban, and then USA and Iran not having good relationship, as you know now. And then you have Taliban people here, right? They are also asking for recognition and things like that. So at present, things are not at all good in Afghanistan, we can say. And I hope this is a very important topic for us, because it is Asia. We have invested heavily in Chabahar port. right? Stability of Afghanistan is very important for India in terms of neighborhood relationship, and this is the reason why we have spent nearly 20 minutes after this particular item. Now moving on to South Asia, this is about ASEAN. We are going to see more articles on this thing. I'm sure you all know what ASEAN is all about. 10 countries of Southeast Asia. Now 2017, last year, we marked 25 years of partnership, 15 years of summit level interaction, and 5 years of strategic partnership between India and ASEAN. And at present we know that ASEAN leaders, 10 leaders, are here in India, and they are going to be our guest for our Republic Day celebration. So this itself indicates our intent, right? We want to boost ties with ASEAN countries. Now the thing is that when we talk about we want to boost ties, then ASEAN countries, they have a bit of, you can say, they are not happy about India, because they say that India is punching below its weight. That basically means that we are not doing the things. Our potential is higher, but we are underperforming when it comes to ASEAN country. The other thing is that ASEAN countries as well, they have their own sensitivities to other powers. They have always been supported by USA. China has heavily invested in many ASEAN countries, and China considers this portion as its backyard. So India has to compete with China, and if we want ASEAN on our side. Now because of different troubles going on, and these ASEAN countries are ASEAN is one of the most successful regional group in the world, right? So it's not that we can do whatever we like. We have to listen to them. And the other thing is that market access, security guarantees, and other things, right, that India can provide to ASEAN countries, but we have not been able to deliver on all these things. Anyways, we have Act East policy. As you know, it was known as Look East policy earlier on, but our main focus even today is South Asia and Indian Ocean. Of course, no doubt, it should be, this is how it should be. We should not you can say go out of focus when it comes to Indian Ocean and South Asia. And when we talk about South Asia, then of course we have to talk about this SAARC grouping, isn't it? We have 8 members in this SAARC, and SAARC is not performing. It has never performed as per its potential, you can say, because two powers here, or two players, right, Pakistan and India, troubles going on between Pakistan and India has always disturbed this SAARC, and the other countries, they are not happy about it. The other thing is that now Afghanistan as well is not happy about Pakistan. So this is the thing going on. You know how last SAARC meeting was cancelled because of Uri attack and things like that. Now what is happening is India is paying less attention to SAARC, and it is paying more attention to this BIMSTEC, right? BIMSTEC has 7 countries, and you can see some countries, like 2 countries of ASEAN, that is Myanmar and Thailand, are part of this BIMSTEC, and rest of the countries, like if you take away this, if you remove this Afghanistan and Pakistan, then all the other countries are part of SAARC anyways. So this is a bit of mix of both, you can say, or a sort of bridge. BIMSTEC is a bridge connecting SAARC and ASEAN, you can say, and we are also building this road, you know, this trilateral highway that will connect India, Myanmar, and hold on a second, India, Myanmar, and Thailand. Now anyways, we'll come to it as well, because we have to talk about one important concept. But before that, let me tell you that cultural connectivity between India and ASEAN countries, you know how Buddhism is a common link, right? It's not only about Buddhism, it is about Hinduism as well. As if you take Indonesia, then Islam is a common factor that is connecting India and ASEAN countries. So we have to make the best out of this cultural ties that we have. Generally speaking, the things and the atmosphere that we share is not that different. So there are many things in common that we can import, and more than that, we can export many things to ASEAN. But our exports are weak. Government is focusing more on manufacturing rather than exporting what we are producing or what we already produce. So this is the thing that the government should pay attention to. Apart from that, we are also sending wrong signals. The wrong signals, basically the things that we are wrong signals that we are sending is that these countries, right, these regional groups, they feel that India wants to become member of all these different groups out there, right? But when it comes to performing, then it is not doing that. So this is a wrong signal. And I was talking about this connectivity, right? See, China has more flight connectivity with ASEAN countries. We don't have that many. So this is an area on which we have to focus to. Apart from that, digital technologies, they are not happy about this. ASEANs are not happy about China's digital technologies because of various security reasons, and our digital or IT prowess is known worldwide. So this is an area in which we have to focus, and there is a huge market here. We are talking about 1 billion population, roughly speaking, 1 billion population of ASEAN. Then this trilateral highway with air connectivity, right? We should ensure that we complete this project as soon as possible, because it's not just connecting these three countries. Once we reach Thailand, then Thailand has good connectivity with Laos and this Vietnam, and all these countries are interconnected, so we can have access to most of these ASEAN countries via roadways. And cultural connect, we need to strengthen this thing. Bilateral, or you can say people to people contact, will go on when we'll promote tourism and other sorts of things that will create interaction. Common games and common culture and all those common festivals should be celebrated by both our country, or you can say both parties. With this difference, this is a news item that I have clubbed here. So see, Vietnam is being tasked this time to draft the statement, and Delhi declaration will have many things that will, of course, send a strong message to China. With this, we have launched this Bharat ASEAN Maitri Park or Friendship Park. It's in Delhi, and you find it contains all languages spoken in ASEAN. With this, dear friends, this one is about too much for too little. It is about transportation system, particularly buses, the way they are going on in Tamil Nadu. Based on Tamil Nadu, we can understand things, or we can apply things, or we can find out what are the loopholes that we have in our country. Now, the thing is that Tamil Nadu has 22,533 government buses, ST buses, and national total is 1,50,000. So you can understand a big chunk of buses are there in Tamil Nadu. It is one of the most urban state in our country, and it provides a reliable access to its remotest towns by government-run buses. But when it comes to safety and comfort, there are many issues with this ST buses. It is this ST units, right? This ST transportation, state transportation, basically is one of you can say biggest employer. It employs 1,43,195 people as per 2017's figure. So this is not bad, but the things that normally, generally speaking, now it applies to state transport all across the board, is that when it comes to expansion, reforms for expansion, they are not performing well. When it comes to modernization of services, right, you see lack of modernization when we talk about our government buses, and acquisition of new technologies and things like that are not done. So these are the things they are not doing, and these are, of course, opportunities as well. And you know it very well that when this sort of things are not performing, when the government is not upgrading its buses, then what will happen is naturally people are going to buy more and more cars. Then we have all this pollution and congestion and all the problems that are associated with this, more cars or more vehicles on the road. The other thing is that there are opportunities out there. You know how this private Ola and this other cabs, right, they use mobile application, and GPS and geographical location features and other things. They do these things and they are, in fact, they are making profit. So this indicates that business is there, right? There is a market over there. If you provide good quality services, then you can make profit as well out of it. Now the sad thing is that our buses are outdated. Of course, I'm sure we have seen buses on Facebook, or you can say on different TVs, television, or different movies and things like that, and we know how buses are there in foreign countries. So we need to upgrade the design of our bus, right? The truck sort of buses are not going to be of any use. Luxury, comfort, these are the things that are in demand at present. So we should supply the things that are in demand. We should supply this demand with the comfort and luxury and other sort of technology, mobile application and things like that. And I have one more suggestion here, that we can have this tickets, right? You find this is a sort of unified ticket, or you buy one ticket and you can use it for one day throughout. You can use it in bus, tram and other places. And one suggestion that I have is, how about we can have some special meters in our rickshaws, and you can use this ticket in rickshaws as well, and government can work out a plan that if you are using this ticket, or if you are swapping this card on the rickshaw, then that much money will be given to that rickshaw. Say for example 10 rupees ticket you have bought that will last throughout the day, then 2 rupees will go. If you use it for rickshaw, then that particular rickshaw driver or that rickshaw will get 2 rupees. So something like that can be worked out, and in this way, right, when you have last mile connectivity guaranteed, then people will keep their cars at their home and they will use public transport. With this, dear friends, this one is about turtle. Very quickly, there are 5 species of turtle that we find in our Indian waters, right? We are talking about water turtles. So you have leatherback, you have loggerhead, hawksbill, green and olive ridley turtles. These are the turtles that you find. They are protected under Wildlife Protection Act 1972. You find this sort of questions in MCQ. So please keep this thing in mind. All these 5 turtles, they fall under Schedule 1. They die because of bycatch. Bycatch basically means you are out there to catch fishes, but they are caught in your net. Now, turtle population is very important for maintaining the health of world's ocean, because different turtles, right? Different turtles, they eat different things, and they play a very important role in maintaining this ecosystem of world oceans. And then you have this TEDs. TEDs basically means turtle ejecting or evading, you can say, these nets. And if we deploy them, if we implement these things, then 90% of the turtles can be saved. And all troll boats should be fitted with this vessel monitoring system, so we can know exactly whenever you have some seasonal bends, bends in both eastern and western coast of our country, in Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea. So we have to see, implementation is the biggest problem. So if we have this vessel monitoring system, then we can know from the system that someone is out there, and that person can be penalized or whatever can be done, so that during breeding season and this sort of seasons, turtles are not harassed. This one is about Syria. We have talked about Syria. We have talked about this Turkey and its attack on Afrin. And this one is about political tango, BJP and this Shiv Sena. And this one is about North Korea and South Korea. These topics we have discussed in detail, so I'm not going into the details of these things. This one is about recapitalization, right? The government has decided to inject something around 88,000 crore at present, right? It is going to inject, and it is going to give to the means this is a sort of recapitalization, but it's not just the money that government is giving. With this money, you have to follow this 30-point reform agenda as well. So the things are going to be a bit stricter now. Structural reforms are the most important things when it comes to recapitalization and saving these banks from NPAs. Once these NPAs are sorted out, the banks should be updated, or you can say you should have all these new rules and regulation. With this, dear friends, United Nations population prospect says that we will have somewhere around, we will cross China in terms of population in next 7 years. And you have this thing called TFR, right? TFR, this one stands for total number of children born or likely to be born to a woman in her lifetime at the prevailing rate of age-specific fertility. Very important definition here, right? And when this TFR is at 2.1, then you can say the population is stabilized. Udan to have helicopters as well now. We know Udan is about providing tickets for 2,500 for per hour flight. So it is connecting unconnected areas. With this, dear friends, these are your answers: Chenab, Bombay and Thane, and 8, National Highway number 8. Today's questions: civil disobedience movement was started by Gandhiji in 1928, 30, 31 or 22. Gandhiji was profoundly influenced by writing of George Bernard Shaw, Karl Marx, Leo Tolstoy or Lenin. And identify the person that you can see on your screen. With this, dear friends, I end this discussion. Make sure you share this lecture with other people as well. Don't forget to give us your like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you will be able to download this file from my Facebook page as well as our Telegram channel. Do check out StudyIQ.com to know more about this 40% discount. I will see you all soon. Till then, enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.